What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the greatest podcast in the world, shooting the shit uncensored. You know who this is. This is the truth, the dad bod god, the bald, the beard, and the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. Hey, and tonight we got a special one for you guys, man. We got the one, the only Dirty Ron McDonald in the house, and I'm excited to have Dirty Ron back on. But before we get into it, you know I need to take a quick second to talk about tonight's sponsor, and that is Sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, Sleefs.com. If you or someone you know is an athlete, you got to go and check out Sleefs. They've got all your athletic gear and wear covered, so go and check them out. And also, they've got my favorite, those dirty boxes. So listen, if you want some new boxes that stay dry, they stay fresh, and got funky designs on the front of them that are going to keep your lady laughing on what's on the front of your boxes and not what's inside them, go and check them out at Sleefs.com. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Also, make sure you tap those little red buttons and tap into the greatest podcast in the world, dropping every Tuesday and Thursday. So get amongst it. But without further ado, let's get into my conversation with the one, the only, dirty motherfucking Ronald McDonald, baby. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the greatest podcast in the world. And I'm joined by one of my favorite people in the entire world. And I know that I say that about every guest that I have on, but this time I actually mean it. The one and only Dirty Ron McDonald in the house.
Yo, what's going on, Piers? Glad to be back here shooting the shit. I just got back. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri right now. I just got back from 2 nights of theater brutality in the Chicago land area, Gary, Indiana. Great couple nights. Repping my boys elbow deep that fucking crushed that show last night. You know, glad to be back. Glad to be down under with the down under dirty man himself.
Hey, there you go.
Who, since I've been on last time, has been out there crushing this shit, man. You've been out there doing it, man. You know, we've both been trying to do some shit.
Hey, man, I've just been trying to do my thing, bro. And, you know, opportunities come and I just say yes and don't say no, man. You know, like it just stuff that presents itself. And it's like, man, this could be once in a lifetime shit, right? So jump on it. Why not?
Without a doubt, you know, like they always told me in entertainment, always say yes until you have to say no. Whether it's a paid project, whether it's an unpaid project, whether you're just going to network or whatever you're doing, you know, and at Hollywood shit, it's say yes until you have to say no. You know, like what are your goals here? You're trying to get out there, you're trying to do the thing. So like you never know. Like you never know some shitty show or shitty fucking free thing that you get booked for that you meet, you know, somebody that ends up directing a fucking music video for you. Or, you know, like when I tried to do my movie a couple years back, I reached out and ended up connecting with people that helped me book the shows in Chicago over the weekend. You know, you just never know who you're going to meet and where you're going to go, how you're going to know each other from there. I mean, like, you know, that's how this shit works. So show up, say yes, do a good job, be cool to be around, and you would be very surprised. You know, I want to ask you this. I see you working with like whatever, Impact, whatever they call it, TNA again, I'm not sure. But how do you get opportunities like that? I mean, I want to touch on that too. Like, how do you get opportunities like that? Who did you meet? How'd you meet them? What'd you say? You know, like because people don't know that shit. You know?
Yeah, dude. Well, it kind of came, you know, there was a promotion that started up that sort of was the sort of go between the, you know, Australian government and the Impact Wrestling, and they came out and did this co-promoted event, and it was Impact Wrestling that did 2 nights, and then the third night they did like an Australian showcase with all the Australian talent.
Okay.
with a
But it
Porsche.
was hooked up through the government.
Well, yeah, because it was like where they did
What are
the
you guys,
show.
communists?
No. But where they did the show was like Wagga Wagga, which is like regional like country. So it's
Okay.
kind of like they did as more of like to bring tourists into that area. So that like the government, yeah. So it was like an incentivized scheme to do. But no, I got messaged by them, dude. They were like, "Hey, do you want to come in to be our ring announcer? Are you available night 2?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I actually had to pull out of another booking, but like, fortunately, the promoter was pretty cool and chill about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many times it's like a pro would be like, "How dare you?"
That that happens though. Like, like, and people don't understand, like any promoter that is pissed at you because you look at an opportunity like that and you're like, hey man, like I hate that I mean, if the original promoter is like, hey, look, you had a booking with me, I need you to keep that booking, I'm kind of fucked, you can't really tell me the day before, and then you choose to still go with the opportunity, hey, nobody should be mad about that. Sure, it sucks, but like, if you're canceling one booking to take another one that's parallel, you're kind of an asshole. But if you have to try to cancel one for an opportunity, like, that shit happens all the time. That's understandable. As a promoter, I get it all the time. But like, what other people don't really realize with something like that is now you're doing something on a bigger scale. Where now when you come back, you're that guy that was there. Like you help bridge something. Who knows? Maybe you met some people while you were there that they were looking for a tag team for some shit or whatever, or you met some producer that needed wrestlers for a TV show or some shit. You never know where the network and the connection is going to take you.
100%. Look, for me, I just went there and just was like, yeah, this is fucking dope. Took my wife along for the ride with me, and me and her had a weekend away without the kids, and got to go and experience it and to do it. And it was pretty cool, man. And like I said, the opportunities come up and I just try and take them, but also, trying to have a smart business mind about me as well. Cause it's like, because a lot of people I feel and especially in the wrestling world will sit there and go, oh, wow. Like they see the bright flashy lights and then they go, oh, wait, I actually lost money doing this, or this, it wasn't profitable. There was no benefit to do this at the end of it. And that was, whereas I always try and look at it from a business perspective going, what will be the final outcome?
And that's why I did extra stuff for WWE a few times, got on, against Braun Strowman or whatever once a million years ago. But I couldn't take those bookings anymore because the last time I did it, it was like, I live in San Diego. So it was like LA for the pay-per-view, Ontario for Raw. And at the time they were doing SmackDown on Tuesday, and that was in like Phoenix. So like I had to get hotels 2 nights, and they were only paying like $200 a day or whatever. And I couldn't make it work. It was cool. I did it. I tried it. Plus, I knew my goals. And I mean, this is, maybe it's going to sound shitty to some people, but my goals in wrestling were never to try to get a contract. Sure, nobody's offering me one, but like I genuinely had somewhat of an opportunity to explore that as an option in 2016 when they had booked me. And I was just like, I don't think I'd want to relocate to Florida for 30, 35,000, whatever it was, because I'm 5'8" on my best day. Sure, I'm in decent shape, but like, who are the guys that are booked all the time? Shit. Who are the guys that are awesome and aren't even booked all the time? And I'm competing for a job with those guys. Like, there can only be so many fucking Hornswoggles and Mikey Whipwrecks,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, but we see how like the business kind of has like evolved now, and we are seeing a lot more smaller talent out there. But I feel like in a lot of sense where like with professional wrestling, and let me get your take on this, but I kind of feel like when I see professional wrestling, the art of it can sometimes be, there's certain things missing from it. It's like when I'm seeing a guy who's 6'6" taking like bumping all over the ring for a guy who's like my height at 5'6", I'm going, oh, like, why? Like, what the fuck?
The word of my year has been perspective, and I try to look at things from everybody's perspective. And sure, you like those some people like that comic book sense where you got the little superhero fighting the big motherfucking superhero, and like, it makes sense because they got certain superpowers. But like, to me, like, there's got to be a little bit of a believability. And here's what wrestling's missing. real characters, people that, you know, are encouraged to stand out and make you feel something. And let me be real. Wrestling as an industry has been so successful at dumbing down and fucking whittling down the performers to just be bit players that nobody's a fucking draw anymore. I mean, I was having this conversation on the way from Chicago to here with a couple of wrestlers in the car. Nobody's a draw anymore. Not Roman Reigns, not Brock Lesnar, not fucking The Miz, not Sting, not anybody. And we see it with like Edge coming to fucking AEW. Like, hey man, like, you know what's missing in wrestling? And I have found a key to that when I promote my own shows.
What's up?
Nobody gives a shit about new fans. WWE is the only company that gives a shit about new fans. Give me, for instance, look at all these deathmatch promotions. I'm part of XPW. All these deathmatch promotions are doing from XPW, ICW, GCW, all these motherfuckers. We're all just trying to entertain the same fucking internet dorks and shift them from watching this one to watching that one to watching this one. Nobody gives a shit about new fans.
That's right. That's what I feel. That's what I feel AEW does as well. Like I was asked by to review a AEW show, and like I sat down and watched Dynamite, and I'm sitting there going like, this is fucking like the certain things that I'm watching. I'm going, bro, this is just a fucking really badly booked indie show that's got a fucking money mark running it. That's someone who's just pumping cash into it, and it was like. Yeah, I mean, you've got wrestlers that are fucking like working opposite the hard cam, and it's like, bro, like that's the sort of shit that fucking, you know, D-level indie grade shows get right.
Is there any way to
let me try
that to not be bright?
Let me try and full screen it. Well, yeah, you're full screen there. No, we can't see it. Maybe bring it closer to the camera.
Okay. These are my posters for my wrestling shows. Look at the top. It says Live Pro Wrestling. There's a cartoon of a luchador. Right here, it says let's see. It says get drunk and heckle. Right over here, happy hour specials. That's my fucking advertisement for wrestling. You don't see no skinny ass little dork that work at the gas station on my poster. When you see this thing from far away, what do you see? I mean, you can't really see it.
You see
Live Pro Wrestling at the top. You see it. So you're like, are we watching it? No, I already answered your questions. Live Pro Wrestling. Like my shows, I ask these 3 questions every one of my shows because I'm focused on new fans. I'm focused on people that have never been to wrestling coming to wrestling. So I book them in bars. And so I book them in places like breweries that already have wrestling. I book wrestling like it's a cover band. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, so when I go to my show, when I have my shows, you know, like I'm in there, I'm like, who's been to one of my wrestling shows before? Decent pop. But then the biggest pop, it comes in the second question, bigger than the first one. Who's never been to a wrestling show in their life? Big pop, right? Because these people saw a poster, paid $15, took a chance. You can't take a chance when the cheapest ticket is $50 to $100 or some shit. You know,
$100, 100%. And that's where I even feel like somewhere like a WWE, they price themselves out of the market. Like I see some of the prices, like obviously over in the US and Australia, the dollar amounts are different, and obviously the exchange, right? But even for like here in Australia, like, what for like front row seats are like $800, like seats are like $400-500. Like, dude, what
is the cheapest? What is the cheapest ticket though? From what I've seen, it's still like $15-20 because WWE focuses on, I have the Miz on this little TV show on Nickelodeon. I got our people doing this and whatever. I got them doing radio promos. I got them going to cricket. They're getting them all over the place, and they're focused on new fans, kids. That's what the whole product's for. That's why they're able to sustain. That's why they have a growing market share every year because they're focused on new fans. None of these wrestling promotions are focused on new fans. They're all focused on getting their own fucking stupid storylines over and overbooking the show and playing with their little toys in their toy box. You know, like if wrestling looked at how do we be palatable to the regular ass motherfucker, like that's how your business is going to grow. Amazon was selling books online to a bunch of book nerds. Now they sell everything to everybody. Well, how did they do that? By getting new motherfuckers on there. They knew book motherfucking readers, which obviously is not me. I'm dumb as shit. Motherfucking book readers are going to buy books. But what else can we sell to who else? How are we going to gain our business? That's why these companies are fucking those companies are growing. That's why WWE is growing. And AEW has found, hey, we hit a shelf. A lot of these indie promotions, they hit a shelf. What are they doing that's exciting? What are they doing to bring people in the door? And that was back to my original point of nobody's a draw. And why aren't they a draw? Because they're not connecting with people.
I've said this like time and time again on this podcast. I don't think there's anyone a draw really on indies worldwide. I don't think there's really anyone that's a major draw. Like you look at the Australian scene here, like there's not one person, one particular wrestler that you can go, yep, put him on a show and you're going to draw 200 to 300 people. Like there's just not. Like there are promotions that do draw that big and bigger, but it's collectively, right? It's all a collective thing together. Totally. But the thing is, it's like,
I mean,
sorry. No, I was just going to say, like, you look at like WWE, for example, the difference between WWE and let's say every indie, AEW, and any other promotion. You never go to a WWE show, or you never sit there and watch a WWE show and hear the crowd chanting WWE, WWE, but yet they promote themselves to be bigger than the actual performers, because it's like you can take Asuka out, right? She can be gone for 6 months. You can take Roman out, potentially the biggest star right now. Take him out for 6 months. No one's going to fucking notice. The wheel will keep churning. No. But the thing is, the difference is they know how to get their talents over, not the – because why do they want the fucking crowd chanting WWE? They want them chanting for that particular thing, so they get the sound bites, the promote, all that sort of extra bullshit. But then AEW and these indie feds, it's like, no, we want to get our, you know, AEW. They want to get that chant that was made famous by ECW, and they're trying to reincarnate something that
stroke their ego.
Shit, yeah.
Stroke their egos. Everybody's trying to play Vince McMahon, from fucking Tony Khan all the way down the line to the fucking local shitty indie guy. They're trying to be Vince, trying to get their stories over. They're trying to put lights on their entranceway and be a shitty version with fucking their little TV screens by the fucking entranceway. Hey, man, get down to what matters. What matters? Having an entertaining show. I'm not trying to suck my own dick, but my show's 5 matches, wrestlers you've never heard of, right? The bad guy comes out first, makes you hate him. So no matter what pixie dust motherfucker comes out next, you're like, I don't care who it is. I want that next guy to beat up that first guy because I fucking hate him. And that's manipulating emotions. That's what our job is. Our job is to make people feel something that isn't real, that we make up, just like religion, you know? So that's what our job, make you feel something, talk you into the building. Who talks you into the building now? Like Nick Gage's little run, he wasn't talking people into the building. He does a little MDK gang thing, like tight, whatever. But who's talking people into the building? Who are you like, you know what? I got to see what this motherfucker's going to do. And I try to create a little bit of that with myself. I want to say something outlandish. I want to fucking, do something to make you remember. And also I want to make you feel something. Whether you hate me or whether you love me, that's my fucking job, is to make you feel something. And if you just feel the need to go, oh, that was cool, I respect you. I don't want you fucking respecting me. I want you to feel something about me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you got respect. Okay. Well, like, does that make you feel something? Or are you just like, oh, that's cool. Like, I like this guy, Joe Jeffries, the fucking wrestler. No, man, I want to see a crazy ass coked out clown going up against a fucking movie monster. You know what I'm saying? Like, feel some shit. Talk some shit. Say some shit's gonna make somebody feel something.
Exactly. Like get that emotion out there, and it's and I feel like that's the art of it. What's really missing there, I think. But the only person I can see really doing stuff like that now on like the AEW sort of side of things is Christian, where he's going out there and doing the whole like your dad's dead kind of thing, where it's like it's so like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like that shock of what like the 90s sort of culture was, where it's like, I mean, saying something like that, it's like, oh wow, that's how could you say something like that in this day and age?
He gets it, but unfortunately, Christian looks like a forgettable person. I don't think I'm saying anything that people don't already know and feel. I mean, look at almost everybody on every show. They're fucking forgettable, honestly. Like, there's not much shit that's memorable. Orange Cassidy does his thing with the fucking hands and thing. That's cool, but how many people are even doing something to make them stand out and make you be like, oh, I've never seen anybody like this. Like, I accept when you said the one and only Dirty Ron McDonald. In UFC, that's only used on a couple people. It's only used on Conor McGregor and John Jones. Because those two are the one and only. And you know what? Just the way you said it, whether it was intentional or unintentional, there is only one fucking Dirty Ron McDonald. And, that's my goal, is to be memorable, make you feel something. Like when I come out, I'm here to do 3 things. Number 1, get fucked up. Number 2, fuck somebody up. And number 3, when I'm done with that, I'm fucking all your girlfriends and your side bitches and your side bitches.
Damn.
You know, and your fucking hyenas when I'm doing shows to a Latino audience. You know, so like, you know, you feel something like that. You feel you're like, oh shit, man, this guy's crazy, he's wild, he's unhinged, whatever the fuck. So like, you know, I don't know. That's missing in wrestling a lot. I wish there was more of it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the believability of it is missing. Is like, you know, because you hear the stories of wrestling of, you know, guys like, you know, Harley Race just walking into a bar and just like knocking all the coins down off the pool table and saying, I'm next. Anybody got a problem with that? Like, you don't see anyone that sort of would strike that fear into people. I feel like in the world of wrestling.
There's a couple people, and they're all on the XPW roster. No, I'm not being biased. Masada, Schlack, Butcher, you know, even Joe, Big Joe. You look next to these motherfuckers, and you're like, hey, man, these are real men. He's a size like real men. When I'm next to any one of those guys, that's why you're probably never going to see a picture with me and any of those guys, because they are real men, and I look like a boy next to these motherfuckers. But, like, that's what's missing. You know, I'm in good shape, but, like, you know, even the people that are in good shape and, like, some of the AEW shit, they weigh 160, 170 pounds. Those aren't, like, put fear in you, men. And I think that's an element of wrestling that got me interested in it. And really, when a character or a person is larger than life, that's what gets people interested.
Yeah.
Why did Nick Gage have a run, you know, for a couple years after Brett Lauderdale fucking raped his identity? Why? Because he connected with people. He was different. He fucking made you feel something. This guy robbed a bank high on methamphetamine and then fucking went to jail. This guy died from a death match. Like, that's intriguing. You know, you're like, oh shit. But how do you sustain that?
But that's the thing is, like, you got to have interesting characters, and I feel like the people that are coming, and I blame society as well, man, because I feel like how everything is now, as far as like with cancel culture, I feel like a lot of people are probably more scared to voice what they really feel and voice their own opinions because they don't want to go against the fucking grain. And it's like, oh, well, you know, I have to support this because everyone else is. And if I say I don't support it, I'm going to be labeled X, Y, and Z. And then I'm going to be blacklisted and kicked out of whatever.
Everybody's scared to be a fucking heel. Everybody's scared to be a heel. It's like, hey, man, like what happened to we don't like everybody on the show? Like, aren't we here to play characters? Isn't this a struggle between good and evil? Isn't this a struggle between good and bad? Like, isn't that what the conflict's all about? How can there be a conflict when you guys are both on the same side of everything, hugging and taking pictures and loving each other and agreeing on everything? Isn't conflict is the basis of combat and pro wrestling? You know, hey, in combat sports, it starts with an athletic thing. You know, you mix in Conor McGregor or somebody that has a good shit talking ability, all of a sudden it becomes personal. So there's layers to that, you know, but like, isn't conflict the basis of everything that we're doing here? How are we all conflict if we're all friends, you know? And that's what's missing. People that put fear in you. People you're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. This guy might fuck the guy up, you know, like put Necro Butcher, Maga Butcher in there with somebody. Like we did him and Dr. Redacted over the weekend. The internet was fucking a little hype about this match. The wrestlers were hype about this match because it was a conflict, you know, it was a conflict of styles. This young, you know, this perceivably young guy, Redacted, coming fresh on the scene, little wild, little rough around edges, whatever, fucking little aggressive, great babyface heat, going against a pillar of the wrestling industry for the last 20-some years, Necro Butcher, a hard-hitting, no-nonsense taking motherfucker. And you're like, oh, you look at this match on paper, you're like, hey, this is going to be an interesting matchup. He's got two different styles, he's got two different type of people, and people to make you feel something. So, you know, very rarely in this day and age are we seeing shit that, like, gets us excited. I'll watch every one of the Paul brothers fucking fights. Why? Because they make me feel something, right? You know, they know how to build up a fight. Supposedly Logan had fucking 1.3 million fucking sales last week. And these motherfuckers know how to sell fights straight up. Like boxing ability, who cares? They know how to sell fight. Conflict. That's the basis of all this shit.
100%. It's getting people emotionally invested in that shit. But talking about the Paul brothers, man, do you ever drink that Prime shit?
No.
Oh, bro, that shit is fucking addictive as fuck.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, it's fucking like the energy drink, the canned shit. Whew. Yeah. Dude, seriously, I had one of them, like the 200 milligrams of caffeine. Dude, 200 milligrams of caffeine. You have one of those motherfuckers, bro. You were going to be like buzzing.
The rock stars that I drink are like whatever, like they're spruced up. They got 240 milligrams caffeine. So that's
shit.
my drink twice a day. Yeah.
Twice a day.
There
you do
was
that?
a rock star twice a day, 240.
Dude.
Yeah. I've taken 3 in a day and it fucks up my stomach. So I know that's my limit too.
Yeah, like I can't do too many. Like, bro, even coffee, I can only do like 1 or 2 coffees a day. Like 2's like pushing it. That's like me living a gangster life.
I showed up. Oh, here it is. I showed up at my buddy's house and he got me a gift basket with like blunts and shit.
Oh, that is dope. I need friends like that.
Friend.
I do.
Great friend.
Dude, I wish friends like that would just rock up and give me blunts and shit.
No, it's great. Like, you know, I've been pretty much on the road this entire month, and like I'm so grateful that my bounce back from, you know, a bunch of shit happened a year ago. You know, we can touch on it if you want, whatever.
Yeah,
but like building my shit back, and, you know, and now I'm back to a place where I'm so comfortable and like, you know, I get picked up from the airport. A lot of people, you know, a lot of these promoters are covering hotels and fucking flying me out, or, you know, like it's just like so cool to never be lost on me how fucking truly lucky I am to be able to travel the country, make a living being an entertainer. I haven't clocked in anywhere in 12 years, you know, like I'm so grateful for that. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. That's the
and
dream,
they have like,
bro. Like
people like appreciate. Yeah. Without a doubt. Don't mind me. I'm just going to roll the blunt while I'm here.
Nah, go you do your thing, bro. Fuck. Puff, puff, pass. Remember that. But yeah, that's it, dude. But it's kind of it's kind of you know, you touched on it just before, you know, the last 12 months and you know, I could sort of see what was going on like online, and plus like seeing your posts as well. Like I know I reached out a couple of times, I think, to you just to sort of make sure that you're all good. But dude, like, you know, you went through like a pretty public and pretty heavy breakup, man, with your lady who you're with for many years, bro. You know, do you want to touch on it? Like what happened, bro? Like what was the...
Absolutely. I'd love to touch on it. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And you know, I do want to touch on that because of the stigma. When you hear the term domestic violence, I don't even have to tell you who. You already have in your mind probably a dude beating the shit out of a defenseless woman. You know, and unfortunately, that's almost never the case. You know, in the state of California, if the police are called to an incident, according to them, they have to take somebody. In my instance specifically, you know, I was in a relationship. I was married to a trained kickboxer who was an athlete, who did death matches with me, who lived an amazing rock star style life with me. And, you know, substances definitely were flowing. And we're very passionate people. Okay. So, like, you know, we're both athletes. And, you know, like, she lived a tough lifestyle growing up, you know, not a whole lot of love in the household. You know, I came from a very loving household, things like that. But, like, you know, we tried to always work through shit. However, in a situation, me specifically, there was the fateful day that I got arrested. And in California, like I said, if somebody's called, somebody goes. So the cops got called because of an argument at our residence, and from a neighbor, you know, because they heard an argument. Cop showed up. I was bleeding from my arm. She had opened up a gig mark from the weekend prior. So I'm bleeding from two different places. I showed them a video of her swinging a hammer at me, creating the cut here, and they're arrested. So, you know, like, I do domestic violence classes once a week. You know, charges were pressed, charges were dropped. Since then, her and I have done a couple interviews where she took a lot of the responsibility for the things that led up into that, and took responsibility for things that happened that day, as well as pretty much was like, it wasn't anything that anybody thought that it was. Because you hear domestic violence, you see an arrest for domestic violence, and then you're like, oh, strong, wrestling, crazy, coked up clown guy beat the shit out of his wife. Well, that just wasn't the case, you know, and you don't need to hear that from me, hear from her. you know. And unfortunately, this year, we've come into a couple situations where my mugshot or history has been brought up, and people would rather make a decision based on just that rather than hearing myself or her out in any capacity. And that's really the bummer of the whole thing is that, first of all, people don't know me. They don't. If you don't know my middle name or you don't have my cell phone number, you don't know me straight up. You know, like you might know some person from online. You might know some person from seeing him at a show. You might feel like you know me because I talk about personal shit in my stand-up comedy, but you don't. You know, and really finding out who judges before they talk to anybody showed me a lot about people, showed me a lot about myself, showed me a lot about the people that I thought that I was good acquaintances with. And it's very unfortunate, but also helped clear a lot of stuff up in my life. You know, I chose sobriety for the first 100+ days of the year. It was nice to get drugs and alcohol out of my system, start thinking clear, start really taking responsibility for my actions and the bad decisions that I made, because ultimately I made bad decisions to get me in a place where I'm at, you know. And Piers, let me tell you this. This is something I've been saying for a long time. I try to take so much responsibility that if you and I were walking down the street, same side, you're walking towards me, I'm walking towards you. I don't know you, never met you. And you decide to punch me in the face for no fucking reason. Whose fault is that? Well, it's yours. You're an asshole. However, I could have made choices. I could have chose to walk on the other side of the road. I could have chose to see it and move it out of the way. I could have chose 10 seconds before, bend down, tie my shoe. All these would have resulted in not me getting punched in the face. So even though it was something that was totally on you, you're the asshole, I could have made different choices to not get that same result. And because of a situation like that, I try to look at anything, whether it's my fault, completely my fault, part my fault, almost none my fault. And I try to take some responsibility in how can I choose to make a different, you know, how can I look at this and make a different choice next time? That's going to give me a more desirable outcome, you know? So,
I mean, like, do you think it's probably something that you will see the writing on the wall before it would even get to that situation? Like if you were in that again, you know what I mean?
Without a doubt, you know, there's things that I compromised in my own self. Okay, let me back up. When her and I met, we met doing stand-up comedy. She's 24. I'm fucking just turned 30. I had just been done touring with Afro Man as a comedy rock duo, opening up for him all over the country. So I'm trying to get into stand-up, and I know wrestling pretty well at this point. And she's like, oh, I want to learn about wrestling. I'm a trained kickboxer. I'm an athlete. I can help you with comedy. So we got together in the sense that we were going to be like a power couple. And who would want that if you're trying to be an entertainer? Jay-Z, Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
Dax and fucking whoever he's married to. Why wouldn't you want that? And I learned a lot about that too. If I'm going to have chaos in my life, which entertainment's very chaotic, I need that peace when I go home. And I didn't have that. So a lot of writing on the wall, a lot of violent tendencies from her past. And I don't need to talk no shit about her, but like I try to be a loving and understanding person, tries to take responsibility, tries to really get at the root of issues and find solutions. I don't whine about my situation. I don't look at an L as a loss. I look at it, if it's a lesson, I can learn something from it. So I wish her the best. I love her. I still have love for her. I'll probably always have love for her. It just didn't work out, you know, taking responsibility and fucking learning from your relationship. You know, like you got to know who you are and what you want. Be honest with that and don't compromise that. So many times I'd make a boundary and it got crossed. And I was like, no, well, it's okay. We'll figure it out. I probably would have never given up on her. But, you know, it came a time where I could see through the bullshit. I was calling her out on it and it didn't work. So, you know.
Everyone has their breaking point, bro. Everyone has their breaking point, you know, and it's wild because, as you said, it's like, you know, when you hear the words domestic violence, you automatically think, you know, scumbag dude who's beating the fuck out of his girl. You know what I mean? Like that's the unfortunate thing of it. And that's I feel like, you know what I mean? Like even to get to the stage of that where, you know, anyone getting, you know, in a relationship, whether it's a man and a woman or a woman and a woman or a man and a man, like as soon as violence enters the relationship, like, fuck, man, the relationship's, you know what I mean? Like the writing right then is there, it's dead, right? Like it's,
yeah, you know, what really sucked about the whole thing is that, you know, there were a lot of wrestlers that saw the violence, saw her break my nose, saw her chip my tooth, and none of those people came to my defense when any of this happened. Like there were, well, I found out who did come to my defense, and there were a handful of wrestlers that saw a lot of shit and were like, hey, listen, you don't know what was there. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We do, and we ain't talking none of that shit because we don't need that. That's not public shit. Like that's private behind it, you know, closed door shit. And there's a handful of wrestlers that I consider my brothers, my, you know, some of my best friends. And these were people that saw this shit happen, you know, and we're kind of trying to correct some shit. If they heard somebody talking about some, oh, Dirty Ron's a piece of shit, Dirty Ron does this, Dirty Ron's that, whatever. They're like, hey man, you don't fucking know. You weren't that. Like you weren't. And here's what you're never gonna see. You know, like I got defensive immediately when I, you know, got out of jail, of course, right? But I quickly drew that back because I was like, you know what? Nobody needs to know that shit. Nobody needs to know what really happened. Like, fuck that. Because I don't need to explain myself to nobody. They weren't there. They don't fucking know me. And you know, like in this day and age, people think that they can have an opinion about everything. And sure, you can, but like I gotta listen to it. You know, if I don't believe it or care about your opinion, then it ain't real to me. You know, just like herpes.
Yeah, exactly, man. I like that. If you can't,
you know what, my dick looks like a Crunch bar. It's fine to me, you know. Rigged for her pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. It's just adjusted to the condom. But you know, I feel like in the most part, man, like, you know, as soon as if people, you know, that are in the public eye then come out and start defending themselves and start going like, oh, blah blah blah, and trying to prove that right, then automatically people then sort of come out and start going, oh, look how guilty they are. You know what I mean? They're trying to defend themselves. They're trying to clout, you know, get their clout up there or whatever it may be. So sometimes saying nothing is the best response to it.
You know, and the first public anything that was how it was dressed was her and I doing a Pigs radio interview. You know, it was like 45 minutes long. We touched on a lot of stuff. You know, we both took responsibility for making some poor decisions. And you know, I didn't try to make excuses, and at the time she didn't either. But you know, like it was nice to clear the air. But you know, after that, I was just kind of like, no, done. It's on the shelf. I'm done with it. I don't need to talk about it. If somebody wants to have an opinion about it, I'll tell them. If they want to talk to her, she'll tell them. But reality is, a lot of people don't even care about the truth. They'd rather read a headline, see a meme, make their own decisions, and then stick on those decisions because nobody can be ever proven wrong. You know, you want to find out some about somebody? Ask them when the last time is that they had their mind changed about something and what it was. You know, when did you have what would it take to change your mind about something? You know, like it was on a recent Joe Rogan podcast. Like that's how you should judge somebody. Like, is your mind able to be changed if you're, you know, given new information? Well, cool. Then you're an evolved, higher vibration being. But if they're, you know, if you're just going to be set in your ways and you ain't going to listen to the people that were involved with it, well, then fuck you. You know,
it's almost like when you see ignorant people that will like argue the fact with something. Like you could be like, let's take stand-up comedy, for example. You've been doing that for years. And like someone turn around, like a friend of yours who's never done stand-up comedy, and they're like, oh man, let me show you this stand-up comedian. See what he did right there? That he was setting up a joke. Did you see? And you'd be like, motherfucker, like, do you know I do this for a living? Like there's people like that as well that just be like, they try and educate the people that do this shit.
It happens all the time. They get excited. I understand that shit, you know, but like, yeah, man, fucking comedy's a tough one. You know, it's the most disrespected art form that's out there. You know, like I slam somebody, people are like, oh, that's cool. I can't do that. Hit a lick on a guitar. You know, people are like, oh, I can't do that. I tell a joke and they're like, my uncle's funnier than you, motherfucker. The guy at work's funnier than you. You know, they almost don't want to see you succeed. You know, they're like rooting against you. And as a comedian, you gotta look at this group of strangers you don't know, they don't know you, and figure out something to collectively get them to enjoy and laugh at. You know, it's difficult. It's very hard. It's very trying, and it keeps me on my toes all the time. I love stand-up comedy.
Man, it's stand-up comedy would be the most intimidating fucking thing in the world, to go and stand in front of a room full of people and to be funny and to be out, you know what I mean? Like that takes so much fucking confidence. Like I hate the fact, like, and I've been to like, because I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. I'd love to give it a try, but I know how fucking difficult it is for people. But like when I've been to comedy shows and I see people heckling motherfuckers that are doing it, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, and it comes down to just like, you know what I mean? It's the same with fucking haters, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're heckling someone who's getting up there and, you know what I mean? Like, on an open mic night, like, this isn't Joe Rogan up there. It isn't fucking Matt Rife. Like, fucking sit the fuck down. Like,
hey, man, I thrive off hecklers, okay? Because, first of all, I'm a professional. I know I'm good at this. Also, I have a mic. I'm louder than you. So, fucking suck my dick. I was in Rochester a couple weeks back doing a show, okay? And, you know, I don't even remember the two guys' names, but there was the host and then there was, you know, the feature act, or the, you know, the host and the feature, and then I'm the headliner, right? So the host, like, the crowd started eating this motherfucker up. And, like, the feature act, he was doing like 20-25, they just ate him up. When the host started the show, he was like, hey, the headliner's not going to go for this shit, you know, because, you know, they knew a little bit about me. But it was great because I knew right when I came on the stage, I was like, we're going to own this motherfucker. Because, hey, you can be as loud as you want. I tested the mic specifically to make sure if I go like this, there's no a fire alarm could go off and I'm going to be louder than it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no chance. And I'm so glad I did that. And I said to the host and the venue owner, I go, at the end of the show, I go, that's why I did that. That's why I tested that. That's why I tested specifically the mic to know if I need to. I kind of knew the host and the feature weren't going to be able to wrangle them if they got wild, and they did.
Yeah.
Generally, they think they're helping, right? But I try to shut that shit down. I'm like, hey, this isn't TV. I can hear you, you know, or whatever the case is, you know. But yeah, you got to shut that shit down. And some people just can't. It's scary out there when you're out there, like you were saying, you know, like in our DNA, we know certain things. Like we have these instincts, whatever the fuck. And we know in our DNA that in our history, people were only put up in front of everybody when they were being voted to be out of the tribe. So naturally, when you're in front of people, you get this feeling of, oh, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. I don't want to be here. Because in our DNA, that's the only time that you were picked out of the tribe and put on a spotlight, as if it was something that could be potentially life-threatening, life-ending, or at the very least, very negative. So,
yeah,
in our instincts, we're not made to be put on in front of people. So the people that do that, there ain't something right with them all the way up there, you know. Speaking from 100%. Experience.
Dude, well, you know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot to be able to get up and do that. It's the same with professional wrestling. Like, that's another thing where it's like to go out there in front of a crowd and to be out there in that. And I feel like comedy and wrestling are there's two forms of entertainment, as you said, that aren't really respected as much as, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much like even we go back, we talk about the woke culture and the pussies of society, that like if a heel went out there and said something, it's like, oh well, they're too worried about being offensive. It's like a comedian. If a comedian's more worried about like the Me Too movement, or not Me Too, but like cancel culture and shit like that, then how can they do their job as a comedian? Like, we're losing sight of the fact of what entertainment is.
For sure. You know, well, with wrestling, you can hide behind good looks and being strong. You know, with comedy, you got nothing to hide behind but your fucking thoughts and your jokes and your timing and your cadence and your inflections, right? Like, look at a lot of today's wrestlers. They fucking can't talk for shit. You know, like they can slam somebody around, they can do some cool moves, they can look good, but like, just like a woman, if I'm gonna be connected with her, there's got to be some substance there. It can't just all be superficial bullshit. You know, like that's where you connect. Why do we watch Conor McGregor's fights? Why do we watch the Paul brothers fights? Why do we watch Floyd Mayweather shit? Why did we watch Mike Tyson? Why did we watch whoever the case was? Austin, Rock, you name it, right? Because they connected with us, because they went out there and they made you feel something. Like, you know, like they didn't hide just behind, there was substance there. There was something for you to connect to. You know, we do end up keeping like circling back to this stuff because, you know, like that's where the real people stand out. So like, yeah, you know, wrestling and comedy do have a lot of similarities, but you can hide behind not being that talented as long as you can do certain aspects of it. You got to be good at everything with comedy. You got to be good at your act outs. You got to be good at on your toes. You got to be good at a lot of things, you know. You can't hide behind good looks unless you are Matt Rife. So,
100%. Or Piers Austin for that matter. So.
He's fucking hilarious. He's fucking hilarious. The guy's hilarious. Like, and he's got a lot of substance. That's why he's going to have a long shelf life. If he was just a pretty face, he'd be gone. But even like Anthony Jeselnik, Dane Cook, these were guys that were in the same similar lane as him previously. Good-looking guys, comedy, but there was substance there. You know, like you weren't just a good-looking person. Otherwise, we would have never heard about Matt Rife, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 100%. He would have just been like a flash in the pan. Right. You know, and then really sort of just, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I enjoy his stuff. He's very quick-witted. For yourself, man, like we're coming near to the back end of the year, bro. Like, what are you looking to do more of this year? Wrestling or comedy?
Well, here, let me read you my goals for fucking next year. I've already written these motherfuckers out. So, you know, as I transition to my back end of my wrestling days, you know, the reason I haven't been able to like excel a lot in comedy is because my weekends are for wrestling. And the way that you get in through comedy is you gotta get a job at a comedy club. Then if you are working the door or whatever, then you get spots during the week and you get to open or feature or whatever for the big comics come through. You create your network and then eventually you're opening up for people like that. That's how the system works. And because I can't work at a comedy club because on my weekend, I can't work on the weekends. I'm doing my own thing on the weekends and I'm making money at it, you know? So over these next couple of years, I am going to be slowly transitioning to give more and more weekends each year to comedy because like, I know I'm not trying to sound cocky, you know, but like, there's something there. Like I've been getting better, you know, I can see my progress and it's something that I know as I transition out of being in ring, I'm going to get more on the production side. I'm going to get more on the stand-up side. You know, it's something that I truly enjoy, something that makes me feel something all the time. You know, so slowly, I'm trying to find my shit. Slowly, I'm going to transition more into doing stand-up comedy. Can't find my little fucking list. Let's see. Goals. Nope. All right, fuck it. Anyway, yeah, I plan to do a couple comedy festivals next year. I hate doing anything in, you know, right around Thanksgiving through like the first couple weeks of January. People just aren't spending money. They're not going out. A lot of Christmas parties, a lot of shit like that. So, you know, I finally closed down my venue in Ocean Beach, San Diego. So, you know, that's been it was a nightmare to deal with that shit. You know, running your own venue is very difficult if you don't have a whole team. So I'm glad to be able to focus a lot more on the entertainment aspect, you know, getting better with stand-up comedy, exploring that a lot more because, you know, like I figured out an equation that works well for me with these shows that I'm doing locally in San Diego to book them like cover bands. You know, and I don't know if I broke the code, but I definitely figured out how to profit shows. I had 45 shows in 2021. That's all of them made money. I did 45 shows in 2021. Not wrestled, produced at my venue. 45 shows in a year, almost one a week. In 2022, last year, I did like 31 or 32 events at my venue. So you know, like. And they all made money too. So, you know, like it's been hard for me to be like, all right, well, like comedy's my thing during the week. You know, I'm cutting my teeth, doing my thing, fucking whatever. If I have an off weekend, I'll go, you know, do club shit. But for the last 2.5 years, I've had that venue that's been a big burden on me that I've had to run, you know, 4 or 5 days a week. So I haven't been able to get out as much. Also, the pandemic really fucked everybody there for a little bit. So, you know, now I'm slowly, you know, the thing. I'm fucking, you know, back out there and really realizing who I am again, you know, trying to get out there and feel good about myself. So, you know, it's working.
That's the main thing, man. How's working for XPW going? Because you know, you've been with those guys for a little bit now, and how are the shows how do you find the show's been going?
What's that? Which shows?
XPW.
Oh, I mean, I love working the Theater Brutality. Yeah, So, XPW, it's fun. We're all a bunch of characters. Being in a locker room of like-minded people that are understanding that people make mistakes. They're not quick to judge people. Working for a creative genius like Rob Black is always fun. He's always trying to be on the cutting edge of shit. I don't think anybody produces content the way that XPW does. The promo pics, the pre-match promos, the graphics guys, Tom Byron's a fucking amazing editor. Slava's an amazing photographer. He's a two-time Hall of Famer for porn. Slava is. So the guy really knows what he's doing. I don't think anybody's presenting shows the way that XPW does. It's a dream to work for Rob Black. It's a dream to work with some of the best in the world, and those people on that roster have become my friends, like once a month at least, a collective group of fucking misfits all get together, people that have been judged for shit, people that, have a lot of talent, a lot to offer. So, that's what's great about working with people that have been through some shit, that are definitely not bad people, are very talented motherfuckers, and, aren't quick to judge. So, I like to make decisions for myself. I like to hear out both sides of the story and make my own fucking decision. I don't like to be told what to think or, like rush to make a quick decision. It's just, it's never good for anybody. So no, XPW is fucking amazing.
It definitely isn't. So, I mean, you said Rob Black being a creative genius. What do you think sets Rob Black apart from other indie promoters?
He's had the luxury of being able to be a high-level creator for such a long time in more than one industry. Extreme Associates was a humongous overnight success in the porn world. He put out a lot of videos and crossed a lot of barriers, and it kind of got him a little bit of trouble. But being an envelope pusher, being somebody that made you feel something. I mean, talk about creating conflict. Like, that guy creates conflict like no other. He's able to make people choose sides between one or the other. And that's why I like working for him, because he's always working. He's always in his public persona, he's always trying to get people to feel something one way or the other. Now, he might have pigeonholed himself a little bit because, wrestling seems to be more woke than unwoke. And, people like to choose sides with shit. I just wish more people would understand that the entertainment value that it is. It's getting you to feel something. Don't you think that that's what this whole fucking shit's all about? Getting people to feel something? It is.
100%.
And Rob Black and XPW do that.
And that's what I always wondered about with Rob Black, because it's like how much of what he's putting out there is a work. And it's like, as you see, the wrestling beefs and drama, like all the online shit that you see popping off. And it's like, I sit there and wonder, it's like, did this person get worked, or is this are these people getting triggered by someone being a character? Like,
I don't know, man. I think Rob and I have a lot in common. We know how to fucking pull strings and make people push people's buttons and make them feel something one way or the other. And we're both pretty comical when we do it. Schlack's another fucking creative genius. I don't know how much people know that or how much I'm even supposed to say some shit about that. But the creativity that you see, and they're always putting out something new every day to promote what's coming up next. Every day, if not a couple times a day. But Schlack is in that creative cabal as well. I'm trying to get my fucking way into that creative cabal. Because, look at it. You got Rob Black. You got two-time porn Hall of Famer, Slava Seidemann. You got fucking Tom Byron, an amazing editor who has a long history, in the adult film industry. Schlack, who edited his fucking documentary about his band, was in a touring band. Now is a professional wrestler, an amazing tattoo artist, and I'm pretty sure he's genius level intelligent. Same with Necro Butcher's genius level intelligent. I'm pretty sure.
I've heard that. I've heard Necro is like smart.
He's smart as fuck, and it's cool to be around a bunch of creative motherfuckers that create on a high level. And look at every time I think I do a great promo, and I will suck my dick a little bit, I think I'd have a decent promo. Every time I think I do a good promo, I look at Schlack's promo and I'm like, man, this motherfucker crushed on me again. Like, he's good. There's no jealousy, right?
No,
it's just, it's creative like it's such a respect for the creativity. It's like, man, what I think I'm doing is good, and it might be comparatively, whatever. But what Schlack does is fucking great, you know. And like, it shouldn't be lost on people that the creative process is being put with that. You know, like there might not be strong storylines or whatever. It might be something we lack at, but you know what? Look at the way that it's presented. You know, we got our own streaming site. You know, like look at the graphics that Joe Dredd puts together. Look at the fucking edits Tom Byron puts together. Look at the pictures from Slava. Nobody out there is doing that shit. You know, so we're and recently being given the opportunity to run these theater brutality shows too. Like, you know, like it shows the trust in me that Rob has. You know, and out of 20 something shows, XPW shows, there's only been 3 not produced by Rob Black, and I was given the awesome opportunity to be able to do that shit. So, you know, I'm very grateful. They give me a platform to create, and you know, it helps me get bookings all over the place. But also, you know, like I get to explore other things than just being an in-ring talent. You know.
Yeah, exactly, man. It gives you a chance to sort of stretch that creative mindset as well across other fields and areas in the business. You know, it's important, I feel like, because, you know, I feel like there's people in the industry that may be like performers that may be able to benefit the business in other ways if just given the opportunity to do so. You know what I mean?
Well, and you know, and really circling back from the very beginning of this conversation, you got to create those opportunities. So you know, like, and also going back to another point, you never know who's gonna know or notice you or whatever. When Rob was coming back, Kevin Kleinrock, who used to be Rob's right hand man, suggested me because Kevin Kleinrock had seen me on a couple shows on the West Coast. I had been very helpful to him. You know, I was. I could go for a couple of his shows, you know, like, oh, you need this. What can I do? What can I help facilitate? I'm a local guy. Let me help out, you know? And because of that, I got an opportunity to work with Rob Black. First conversation with Rob Black. Hey, Rob, I produce shows. I do live streams. I create graphics. I make funny commercials. I do all these things. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, that was kind of shelved. Then I reminded him again later last year, you know, these are the things I do. I love to whatever. I'd love to be able to boom, you know, hey, Tom Byron, can I send you the fucking, since you do the edits, can I send you the commercials to put on the TV show, all that shit, you know, and I just kind of squeezed my way in. And then this year I'm like, hey, I'm already going to be on the road doing these shows. I want to do some no ring shows with some bands. Do you care if I call them theater brutality? And because I've been given opportunities before and given small chances to do things that turned out well, I was given an opportunity to do that, but it was an opportunity I created for myself. He wasn't coming to me like, you want to do these theater brutalities. I came to him like, here's what I'm doing already. Can we brand it like this, air it on the fucking network? Got the opportunity to do it. Had a couple hiccups in the streaming bullshit. It's tough. It's not easy. But, you know, and who knows how many more of those opportunities I'm going to get. But the door's definitely opened. And I've proven myself on some sort of level to be able to have that trust in somebody that doesn't give out a whole lot of trust all the time till you really prove yourself. So I'm grateful he's given me those opportunities, and I'm just ready for more.
Yeah, man, that's the main thing of wanting to knock it down, bro. But last time we spoke, dude, we spoke about some of the wrestling beefs that were going on. Like, has that sort of shit from your perspective died down? I mean, obviously the last 12 months you've been dealing with more important type of shit, but has that sort of stuff eased its way off you over the last 12 months or so?
I mean, there's not payoffs, you know, like look at the fucking, I mean, you know, there was a shoot angle between Danny DeManto and fucking Atticus, and then it turned out to be like an angle there. Or I don't know if it was a shoot that turned into a work, you know, like the beefs, there needs to be a payoff, you know, like there needs to be something, and nobody's trying to work with each other. Like they might act like they are, and oh, this champion wrestled here for a minute, and you know, like we kind of protect him or whatever. But like, you know, like again, like I don't think a lot of promoters have a good business model, you know, and really looking at how do you create new fans, how do you grow your business, what are your goals, are you reaching those goals, what can you do differently if you didn't reach those goals, and you know, like I don't know, I get the vibe that a lot of these guys are working on ego. You know, they're not really focused on maximizing the income for their companies, and not taking different strategies to do so. So like the beefs online, like, you know, it's kind of played out like it's bullshit. I would have loved to smack Danny DeManto around because I love smacking bitches with tits. I don't know if you read the internet, but I would have loved to box that guy. And you know what? I think it could have done some numbers. Maybe, who knows? I would have loved just punching that motherfucker in his face. But again, that dude ain't a real man. He ain't gonna fucking step up and do nothing. Like all these dudes are fucking pussies. Almost all of them. I wouldn't fuck with Necro. Like I wouldn't like to be in a dark alley with Masada. But like, how many dudes are you even really scared of? How many dudes are really gonna step up for themselves? How many dudes aren't complete fucking pussies? And everybody just goes along, gets along to go along or whatever. They don't want to have opinions. They don't want to do or say anything that's going to get them outside of the little box. And, that's how you get boxed in. So online beefs, like, I get it. You want to create conflict, but there's got to be a payoff, and if there's not a payoff, then like, what's the point? Like,
but you hit the nail on the head there. It's like not many of these people want to do business. And one of the things I've said, a lot over the last probably 6 months is no one in wrestling treats it like a business. And I tell people that aren't involved in wrestling, it's like when fans go, the wrestling business, I go, it's not a fucking business. I go, no business in the world is operated in the same fucking like way as professional wrestling is. It's not, it's nepotism.
WWE is. WWE is.
That's a different fucking kettle of fish, right? But like I'm saying, like for the most part, wrestling is on our level. It's like, it's all nepotism. Oh no, I can't work with this person because this person said some mean words about me and I don't feel safe. No, you're just too scared to be around confrontation, bitch. Like that's all it is. And it's like, it's just, it's more of just a fucking circle jerk than it is a business.
And it like that translate to people like and that's kind of touching on what I said earlier. Like all these companies are focused on their own ego and shuffling around the same internet dorks that watch shit. Are you trying to make money? I am. I'm trying to not have a real ass job. I'm trying to go do a show, that is going to cost me a little bit, but I'm going to make a bunch of money because I'm putting it on to people that want to go see a show. Oh, one other thing you didn't see on my wrestling poster? I don't even put a promotion name on there. You know why? Because nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. It's live pro wrestling. You know what it is. If you put even some, the real wrestling underground or some stupid ass shit like that. Like nobody gives a fuck about that. It's you. That's your ego. You're stroking yourself because you want to play with your little toys in your toy box. Motherfucker, listen to Bob Evans. Motherfucker's talking about like growing your business and shit like that. Have small, realistic goals that you can reach. And then you reach your goals and you get that confidence to set more goals. And then that's how you keep growing as a person, as a business, or whatever the fuck you have. If you're just sitting there stagnant, shuffling the same shit around, it's like, hey man, you're just sitting in a pool, fucking, shuffling around the same dirty water everybody's been pissing in. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out there, get out in the fucking ocean, get in the river, get that current going, figure out some new shit, put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, and fucking figure that shit out. You're gonna feel more confident about yourself when you do that shit.
100%.
That's how I build my confidence. People say I'm cocky, I'm conceited. I know, I'm confident. You know why I'm confident? Because I built my own confidence by making goals and feeling successful when I'm able to put my mind to something, make it happen. And if it didn't happen, reshuffle and fucking make that shit happen again. How are you going to build your confidence? But by sitting around and worrying and, I don't want to take chances. No, motherfucker, grow as a person. Get yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Try to do that and see how you react, and fucking get yourself out of that situation. That's how you do it. That's how you grow as a person. People are scared, they're anxious, they live in fear, and they'd rather just sit in this little comfortable box where nothing's gonna harm them and nothing's gonna happen. And that's reality. If you don't want nothing to happen, ain't nothing gonna happen. You want to sit in your box all fucking day, that's fine. I get out, I travel, I see the Waffle Houses. You know what I'm saying? Like I get out there.
You got to get out and experience.
That's what's up.
Yeah, 100%. You got to get out there. You got to experience the world. You got to be able to, I feel as well like you got to be able to be able to voice your opinion and be an individual. And I feel like for the most part in wrestling, like there's just like there's a lot of the same shit. There's a lot of the same shit that you see that is just
it's all shuffling around the same shit. Like 10 years ago, all the indies were just trying to be a shitty version of Ring of Honor. You know, now you got a lot of indies that are trying to be a shitty version of GCW. You know, like that's just kind of what it is. Like GCW's run its course. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are they doing now that's different and cool and fun? Joey Janela's first spring break was whatever 4, 5, 6 years ago. Like, you know, like that. Nick Gage is on his down fucking turn. Like, what's new and exciting about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's your star? Who's your draw? What's going on? Like, everything's kind of played out. You know, like, look, how many deathmatch tournaments you got going on every fucking month? You know, like, remember when there was just like 1 or 2 a year? You know, now it's every other goddamn weekend there's a new fucking tournament at some fucking place with, you know, some dudes that wrestle up in their backyard and shit like that. You know, it's like nothing special anymore. So, you know, like that's what I try to do. I try to look at the scene.
No, sorry, go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no.
I try to look at the scene. I try to look at the scene and see what's going on out there and just be different from what else is going on. You promote your show by calling it a promotion and putting these skinny little gas station dorks on your fucking flyer. That's fine. I'll put a cartoon lucha guy that says live pro wrestling, get drunk and heckle. And who's going to have a better crowd? Who's going to have a crowd that's going to keep growing every month? You know, like, I don't know. Look at what's different. Look at what everybody's doing. Like, and don't do that. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I want to be successful. I want to see somebody who's doing something the right way and being successful with it and mimic that. You're not going to come over with it. You're not going to reinvent the wheel. You know, like you're not going to be Paul Heyman. You know, you're not going to be fucking, you know, who's reinvented the wheel since Paul Heyman? Like, nah, you know, nobody. Like, right? Like, when was the last time that we had a new exciting aspect of the pro wrestling world? It's been a long fucking time. Because it's just the same shit reshuffled. So, you know,
that's the business, man.
I'm glad I'm where I'm at.
100%, man. 100%. But, man, we are going to start wrapping up, man. But where can everyone find you? What have you got coming up that you can tell the audience about?
Don't ever find me. Don't look for me. You'll see me, and it's going to be unexpected, and you're going to have a great fucking time. You know, I'm getting my new act together to go on the road with. You know, I'll be working on that. You know, and just like getting out there, add new markets to my shit. You know, trying to have a good time and realize that, you know, it's a blessing to be an entertainer, whether it's stand-up comedy, whether it's live pro wrestling. I love entertaining people. I love making people feel good, and I love making memories. It's never lost on me that when somebody stops me and they say, Dirty Ron, oh my God, I saw you did this thing. That's the coolest shit that'll ever happen to me. Because why? Because I made a memory. I made a memory so strong in that person that when they saw me, they had to stop my day to tell me how impactful that was in their life. Now, I'm not telling you life changing, but it made them feel something that day. Yeah, and for them to stop me and tell me that, I'll never get lost in how fucking cool that is. Because then it reminds me of how many people I've made a memory for that didn't ever see me again or saw me and didn't stop me. There's some people out there like that too. Sure, it's not hundreds, millions, whatever the fuck, but there are people out there like that. So when I, you know, like, it's never lost on me how fucking cool of an opportunity I get to entertain people and not have to clock in, not have a real job, you know, and I enjoy every second of it. So,
hey, that's it, man. Keep living the dream.
Right. At Dirty Ron.
Hey, make sure you go follow Dirty Ron, man. Great performer, great dude. Again, man, thank you so much for being on, bro. It's been an absolute pleasure. But guys, make sure you click that subscribe, like, share, all that good shit. Until next time, we'll see you again very soon. Take care. All the best. Mwah. Peace out.